Hello, Algebra 2. This video will be going over our exponents worksheet. Now, before you start this video and start this worksheet, you should have watched our Algebra Basics video going over the law of exponents. So this should be linked in Google Classroom. Make sure that we watch this video before moving on. Just want to make sure that we refresh, make sure that we remember and understand how the laws of exponents works. So before watching this video and completing the worksheet, please make sure that you could do these first 6 problems based on the video that you just saw. So if you need to check your work and check your foundations, please pause, complete these 6 problems, get those answers checked before moving on in this video. So now that we have our first 6 problems done, we have a solid foundation about how to use our laws of exponents. Now we are going to apply those laws to more complex problems. So we will not be doing all these problems together, but I'm going to choose select problems to show you how we tackle problems like this. We may have seen some of these types of problems in Algebra 2, and we're definitely going to see some of these problems. Uh, sorry, we may have seen these problems in Algebra 1, but we're definitely going to see these type of problems in our next unit. So let's take a look at number 7 to start. So I have x to the third times y to the fifth over x times y to the second power. So you'll notice that I have 2 different bases. I have my x value bases and I have my y value bases. So I am not going to try to do 2 things at once. I'm not trying to cancel at the same time. So in order to make things more organized, I'm actually going to separate those 2 bases. So I'm going to have x to the third over x times y to the fifth over y squared. I'm not changing anything other than just how it's written. Fractions are linked via multiplication. You can break them up via multiplication, and they are still the same. I'm not changing the uh, fraction given. I'm just breaking it up so that I have my x's lined up in one fraction, my y's lined up in another fraction. So when that happens, it becomes very similar to our first 6 problem, where I just have my x to the third over x. That's a quotient rule. So that's going to be x to the third minus 1, which is going to give me x to the power of 2. 3 minus 1 gives me x to the power of 2. Now looking at my y values, similarly, I'm going to use the quotient rule to give me y to the fifth minus 2 is going to give me y to the third power, which ultimately is my answer. So I'm just taking the rules that I learned in the video, and now I'm applying it to a problem or to an equation that has multiple variables. But the way that I resolve that is by splitting them into their own pieces and then writing them back together at the end, going the same way that they were before. Multiplication, multiplication. Here we have x squared times y to the third. We're all still linked via multiplication. So you could definitely use those same type of skills to do a problem like number 8. However, just be careful when we're dealing with these negative powers. In addition to using the quotient rule, you have to keep track of your signs, make sure that we're adding and subtracting properly with our exponent or our powers. So be careful of that, but I'll leave you to try that one on your own. Next one I want to take a look at is actually number 9. So here we have a power, not just any power, but a negative power being multiplied into a parentheses. So a power to a power means that we are going to be multiplying. But similar to what we had over here, we have different bases going on. So I have an x base and I have a z base in here. So what that means is that I need to apply these powers, excuse me, I need to apply my -1, my outside power, to everything that's inside of the parentheses. What do I mean by that? Well, this -1 is going to get applied to our x to the third. The way that I write that is going to be x to the third inside parentheses still, times -1. And then I'm going to apply my -1 to my denominator as well. It applies to all terms inside of my parentheses. So this thing becomes z to the third, also the power of -1. I'm really just splitting my fraction into two pieces, but since the negative exponent, the parentheses is around both of them, that means that the -1 gets applied to both of them when I break up my numerator and denominator. From there, we could treat this as two separate problems and then simplify at the end. This becomes x to the third power to the -1 power. If a power to a power means we have to multiply. So I have x to the -3rd. Similarly here, I have z to the third power to a negative power. Power to a power we multiply. That's going to be z to the -3rd. And of course, with negative powers, we do the reciprocal. So that means that in isolation, if I could do my side work over here, x to the -3rd is going to be equal to 1 over x to the third. And similarly, 1 over z to the -3rd, let's make that look a little bit nicer, z to the -3rd is going to be equal to z to the third. So it's not just a matter of making a division, it's a matter of we flip our bases because we have a negative power. So our numerator becomes our denominator, and our denominator becomes our numerator. Okay? So with those two pieces in mind, this is going to become z to the third power, x to the third power. And this is our final answer. There's no more cancellation to be done. There's no more extra powers. We have two bases that cannot be simplified further. And this is our answer for number 9. So I just want to go over how to tackle some of these problems. These can get a little bit complicated, so make sure that we're working slowly, checking our work. If we need to reference this video or the Math Antics video, I would encourage you to look at them over again so that you're comfortable with the skills and try to break up these problems in a way that makes sense to us. So, best of luck. I'll be posting these answers over the weekend. Ooh, and my battery's about to die. So this seems like a good time to end the video.